hi there,
Hello.
everyone. Welcome to, I feel like I say this every time, but a very special Out of the Theater review. The first of which on our kind of work in progress set that we have going on here. Hopefully you're going to be seeing a little bit more of this and more of our beautiful visages in the following weeks and months and things to come.
Yeah.
I am joined by the anxiety to my disgust, and we are just out of the theater for Disney Pixar's Inside Out 2.
Yeah.
Which, hey, congrats to, hey, I mean, I don't need to jerk off the mouse at all. This is the first movie of the year to gross $1 billion globally.
Yeah.
It on the big magic number for Disney right now, 200 million, not 274.
Gotcha.
200. I think 274 might be with the marketing budget,
Gotcha.
Which they did market the shit out of this movie. So God bless them on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're a little differing of opinion here. I think this one's kind of a dud. I think for a $200 million movie, there's got to be some kind of money laundering scheme, or they're hiding this money somewhere, because $200 million, I'm thinking like this, Elementals, like, I just don't know where the money's going, guys. I think the animation here is a lot cheaper looking than the original. I was really not impressed with the big striking Pixar visuals that they like to do. I could tell that there were scenes of like, this is supposed to be a big one to grab your attention and get a lot out of you, but I was just kind of whatever. I think the people look great. I think like we see a lot of like hockey gameplay in this, and like everything between that is cool. Like the people look okay. Everything that's like joy and sadness and it's like taking place inside Riley's brain, I don't think it looks good.
Yeah. It's a very hot take. I think that's absurd.
Wow,
But, you know, I guess I can understand. I mean, I think that this movie looked just as good as the last one.
Really interesting.
I really liked the new emotions.
Uh-huh.
I thought that they looked really good. I really liked how embarrassment looked. Envy was adorable. You know, I feel like I don't know. I don't know why it wasn't
I don't know. It just the way they moved looked more I guess CG. Like obviously they're CGI, but like there was a certain way of animating them in that first one where they had a little bit better flow to them.
Yeah.
I think the facial animation on them was better in the original. And I don't know. I think it also doesn't help that there are like 9 of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of
so there's so many
now.
more to animate. I think this movie is a lot more shallow than that first one is in terms of the writing and kind of the things that happen therein. I was really not interested in the story too particular. It was just kind of whatever. There was a lot of, which in the original one, it felt very much like we're going to get a scene with all the emotions, and then we're going to get a Riley scene.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get a scene of the emotions, and it jumps back and forth like that. This is, we are watching, it's basically you take every scene that Riley is in and double it in length.
It's congruent.
Because we're watching them bounce back and forth, and that's really exhausting. This movie is exhausting. That's it's okay to like a movie. I'm so glad that you enjoyed it. But I found it just a big step down in basically every way from the original.
Yeah, I feel very different from that. I thought that it was a very good example. As someone who suffers with anxiety, I think that this did a very good job of expressing, you know, what is actually going on in there with that.
Well, yeah,
because there's
absolutely.
a lot of, you know, and the credits that roll, they show all of their emotional, what is it called? They're advisors, and they're all these doctors, you know, who go over all of this with the writers and everything. And I thought that was a really cool, you know, that's something that's really neat, especially with you know, children.
Yeah. This is a kids movie.
Yeah.
It's a kids movie. I understand it's a kids movie.
Absolutely. It is definitely a kids movie, and it's definitely I think it is strategically done in terms of making it easy to understand, layman's terms of what these emotions
one way to put
are.
It.
It's basic, and I think that's kind of the point. Is these are.
But I don't think
for
that
kids.
first one was.
I'll admit there were a couple of more undertones in the first one, but it's still for children who need to be able to understand what it's trying to say.
That first one is also for children.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like, I wasn't going into this expecting fucking Schindler's List.
No, of course not.
But I don't know, it just felt so much cheaper to me, and it didn't...
It felt rushed.
Yeah.
It did feel a little rushed. And I think that part of that is that this happens over... Yeah, I know. It happens over a weekend.
Yeah.
The movie happens over, the course of 3 days, I think?
Yeah, it's a 3-day, hockey camp deal.
Yeah.
I don't know, there's something about, that first one, and maybe it's because that first one is a movie about growing up, and I think this one thinks it is, but we don't actually see any of it.
I thoroughly disagree. I think that this movie's arc in Riley is different because in the first one we see Riley coming to terms with what these emotions are. She doesn't always have to be happy. She's allowed to be sad.
Yeah.
She's allowed to feel that. And I think that this movie showed Riley, she has to decide who she is.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning it's joy, and it's joy, it's all of the original emotions, and they're picking and choosing her memories to formulate who she is as a person. And we are not all good people. And,
for sure.
We know that. But at a certain point in our lives, we have to realize that.
Uh-huh.
And I think that this was Riley going through that stage in puberty that we all go through where it's like, okay, I'm making all of these decisions and they're piss poor decisions.
Yeah.
And then that whole, after her, there's this really beautifully done anxiety attack that I think that scene is perfectly done. A little spoilery. I'm sorry, I'm getting too much into it.
That is well done.
Yeah, because it's like Joy breaks through, and you think she's flying all over the place, but she's stuck.
Yeah,
she's absolutely frozen.
Yeah,
and I think that was a beautifully done thing.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Then at the end, Riley determines all of these poor memories come back to her, and she's not good enough. She's a failure. She's not a nice friend. She, all these things. But then those are countered by their foils. I am a good person. I try and be a good friend. I do the best that I can.
Yeah.
And it develops who she is on her own instead of these emotions determining for her.
Yeah,
so I think
agree.
I think it's not as verbatim as the first one. The first one, you know what the goal is. She is trying to feel the one emotion. Joy won't let her be sad.
Yeah.
This one is a lot more complex in that aspect of because we didn't even realize we're rooting for Joy and the original emotions the whole movie to get Riley back to that, to get the good person back. That's not what she needs.
Mm-hmm. I think this one is much more ham-fisted and much more in your face about this is what we are trying to talk about than that first one. In terms of I like seeing this one has the idea of we're gonna jump into a bunch of multiple different people's heads, where that first one is really just Riley, and you're kind of with Riley for that movie, where you understand what she's feeling and what she's experiencing and what she's seeing, but in this one it's we're getting everybody's thoughts and opinions and emotions. I
think that the scenes that those are used in they're good. They're meant to be, though. They're not. I mean, it's not like we're bouncing between people's heads the entire movie.
No. So
I think that especially the scene with her friends.
Yeah.
We're getting an idea of what her friends are, and that is essentially what it's like to be in a group of friends. That she's staring at her and she's like, okay, I see something changed in her head, and the other person's thinking the same thing. Oh no, she knows.
Yeah.
She can see.
Yeah, for sure, and that kind of stuff is funny, but I think with I think it also has a lot to do with, I think the story itself, completely outside of what the movie is trying to talk about, is really disinteresting and doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because it's just oh, these emotions come in, and they kick all the other emotions out, and then the other emotions are like, well, we have to get back, I guess. And it just, I don't know, it does, the whole regime change of it is just not something that I saw for this movie. And I think creating, like, it's obviously because you can't have that many protagonists. Like, you can't have 7 or 8 characters that all want to do the same thing and, like, get to the same point.
Go ahead.
No, because, like, the way they bring in these 4 is, like, these are the villains of the movie. Anxiety is the villain of the movie. And, like, it's, I mean, they string up sadness in a fucking bucket at the end of this thing. Like, they are the villains, and that's just, it's a weird way of framing this story.
I think what that's trying to do is, it's, you know, joy, disgust, fear, anger, and sadness. Those are our basic, they are our primary colors.
Yeah.
You know, those are our most
and then
basic
the
emotions.
ones we see now are much more social
They're complex,
emotions.
and they're anxiety said it herself. She needs more sophisticated emotions.
Yeah.
They're deeper emotions. They're harder to manage and pinpoint. You know, embarrassment. We feel shame. We wear clothing because we feel shame.
Yeah.
You know, so, like, embarrassment, ennui, they called her boredom, right? Who had a French accent, which I thought was really funny. That was a really funny addition. She's your boredom and your sarcasm and, you know, all that stuff, and your blech emotion. And then envy, who I think was done perfectly. I think that character was pretty spot on. Yeah. And embarrassment. That one worked really good. I thought that this movie also did a really good job in showing on how these certain emotions work in tandem.
Okay.
Your envy and your anxiety work together all the time.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm jealous of your shirt.
Yeah.
I need to be like that. I'm going to go get that. If I'm not like that, social anxiety, that sort of thing. And your embarrassment and sadness. Those go hand in hand all the time.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think maybe I would have liked to see more of that.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think anxiety's a character, and then the other 3 are just butts of jokes.
They're supported, yeah.
Yeah, like, they're not as, like, interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, if you think about the first movie, that's what fear and disgust were. I feel like fear and disgust were pushed backwards. I said it while we were in the theater. I was so excited that there was so much more disgust in this movie.
Yeah,
because I was
absolutely.
like, that is an emotion.
Yeah.
Like, that is something that should be, you know, have more time.
Yeah.
No, I think that right off the bat, I understand what you mean. Yeah. But I feel like I had a lot deeper analyses of it when it came to it. I don't know.
I don't think that there's a deeper analysis to be had here. Yeah. I think we might be grasping at straws a little bit, looking for something that's not there. In this one, because I think that one we're kind of falling into the Pixar trap as of recent, like specifically with Elementals, where, like, I think it's a movie that probably thinks it's about stuff like other stuff, and it's just kind of a kid's movie that's haha, look, it's pretty. I also don't think Elementals looks particularly good. I think there are some pretty visually striking things in there, but for in the grand scheme of things, not like this one. I think this one looks specifically bad, but, like...
Can I ask, is it because of the change in how Pixar is doing their movies now? Similar to how Disney changed a while ago. Like, I think our last really good looking, that looks and feels like a Disney movie was Tangled. Right? So then, because you have that, and there's all that CG. You know, there's so much CGI. Nothing is hand-drawn anymore.
Well, yeah, obviously.
You know, and that sort of thing. The Pixar that we grew up with, and the Pixar that we're fond of, is completely fucking different from the Pixar now.
Well, I think that what we're looking at here is there is no longer any semblance of artistic integrity or heart or passion for anything that happens at Disney anymore. Everything is so carefully constructed by a regime that it just doesn't work, because I'm sitting here and I'm looking at colors happen, and I'm feeling nothing because there's no thought behind it. Like, I think even that first one, like, there's a lot of heart that went into that movie. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of, I think, integrity. I think I think the performances in this movie are fine, but they're so much better in that first one.
Yeah.
Like, this one feels so much like, I'm thinking specifically, I don't know who it is, but the person that voices Anger, they have a gun to this guy's fucking head when he's in the booth. He is so off in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously we don't get any of the big, like, anger explosions in this movie, like we do in the first one.
Yeah.
But, like, it's so thoughtless and brainless that, like, that first one felt like it was about something, and it felt like it had something genuinely to say.
Yeah.
Where this one's like, yeah, make another Inside Out movie. It'll make a bunch of money. Don't make the pretty colors do the pretty things.
There is the scene in the beginning where puberty starts. You know, the puberty alarm goes off, and everyone's standing at the control board after they've changed it, and Anger, the mom walks in to wake Riley up, and Anger hits something, and he doesn't explode, but Riley does. Yeah. And I thought that was really, all of them try and fix the emotion, but it just goes to show just how sensitive she is now, and especially like, to puberty.
I think if we want to talk about ranking the Disney puberty movies that have come out recently, Turning Red is so much better than this.
Wow.
I
you hated that movie.
I didn't hate that movie. I just didn't like that movie. And I don't like this movie. But, like, I think, like, this movie is not a movie about puberty. It's not. It's about a girl. It's what's really interesting is
I can agree with that.
We saw this movie after we watched Diary of a Wimpy Kid, which watch our episode on Diary of a Wimpy Kid. This movie feels the exact same as watching Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
That's a very hot take.
In terms of, like, the emotional depths that they're looking for in this movie, it's Diary of a Wimpy Kid. It's a kid, like, I'm going to school and I want to be liked. And that's the movie. And then at the end of the movie, they realize, okay, I don't necessarily have to be liked. I just have to be me. Which, great message, right? It's awesome for kids to be yourself and do the things that you like and not have to worry about the social consequences of that. But, like, I just... That first one talked about growing up on such a specific level, and, like, becoming, rather than being a kid, kind of growing into your adolescence, and trying to figure out that mismatch of, like, here are things I still like, am I still allowed to like those things? Where this one is just, the plot of the movie is, I want these girls to like me. Mm-hmm. And it's just, I don't know, it's very shallow, it's very empty.
I feel like it's a little bit more than that, especially with anxiety's part in it, because yes, she wants these girls to like her, but she knows that she's not going to be at the same school as her friends anymore. She's going into this completely blind. Hockey is her thing, so she's thinking, okay, if I can get these girls to like me and I can get on the team, then I will be safe. I'll be safe in high school. At least that's what I took from it. You know, is because anxiety keeps saying, she's like, this is not dictating the course of the weekend. I am dictating the course of the next 4 years. Yeah. So I need these girls to like me.
Yeah, I think
for my next 4 years to be substantial.
I think anxiety is a well-written part of this movie.
Voiced by Maya Hawke, by the way.
We love you, Maya Hawke. We love you,
Come
on the show, Maya
Hawke. We love you so much. I was very excited to learn that was Maya Hawke.
Yeah.
Because I thought that she did that very well. If anyone is going to be a twitchy little shit, it's going to be Maya Hawke.
Yeah. No, there's just, I don't know. I think anxiety is well written, and I think that's about it. I think everything else is, let's tell you what's happening here. Mm-hmm. Let's give you let's not allow you to have any kind of thought for yourself. Yeah. We're just gonna here's the movie. We hope you like the pretty pictures. Yeah. And the pictures aren't even that pretty. So, that's my one sheet.
To each their own.
It's fine. It's okay to like a movie.
It's okay to like a movie. It's okay to not
a lot of motherfuckers like this movie. This movie has 4 stars on Letterboxd.
I'm gonna reach out to Cece, Miss Goodell. Because she loved that first movie. Yeah. She made us watch it in school when we were in her class. So I think that I would love to. I would love to know your opinions.
Let us know in the comments. What do you think about Inside Out 2? Did you like it?
Did you see it?
Are you a heartless Roth like me? Yeah. So that's Inside Out 2. We don't know. Oh, we do know what
we're
seeing next.
Yep. It's a very large jump.
Big jump here.
From what we just saw.
You should be seeing us this upcoming Wednesday. Mm-hmm. Maybe the video is going to be posted on Thursday. We're seeing a lot of stuff upcoming. We basically planned out, like, here are the things that we're going to see for the next month, like, weekend by weekend. But we
have a lot of big releases coming out, which is very exciting.
We are seeing Maxine on Wednesday. And then we're going back to our baby shit empire that I love so much, Despicable Me 4. So, we hope you enjoyed. When we say welcome to our library, welcome to our library. So, until next time, I have been the deepest, darkest secret.
Oh. And I'm Bing Bong.
And take it easy, everybody. Oh!